Now, I know I said I wasn't going to review any movies, but because I apparently am obligated to review any and all things Sonic the Hedgehog related, I decided to make an exception this one time, and I'll probably make another exception in the future, knowing me. But anyway, people for the longest time have been wondering my personal thoughts on the Sonic the Hedgehog OVA, which was an anime movie that was released sometime in the early 90s, not quite sure of the exact date. Well, in your mind. Starts out in Robotnik's lab where he is giving an evil monologue about his latest creation, Hyper Metal Sonic! What makes him so hyper? I actually have no goddamn idea, because he looks just like normal Metal Sonic, but, yeah, whatever. We then cut to a scene of some clouds with a pretty catchy song playing. We then see a strange owl character flying an aircraft which seems to be having some engine trouble. We're shown a nice shot of what appears to be a floating island, though this is not to be confused with Angel Island. The entire area seems to be covered in floating islands, as the story reveals, because there's this place that's like Sky Place, I forget what it's called, and freaking floating islands everywhere, and I don't really get it. But anyway, the artwork looks really nice, and I suppose the inspiration was taken from the game's floating island, so who really cares? We then cut to...
Sonic! I finally finished it!
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a cold.
See, isn't it great? It's a jet-propelled bodyboard. Come on, you want to try it out?
Not right now, thanks.
This is gonna be one of those dubs, isn't it?
As I'm sure you can tell, the American dubbing of this movie isn't particularly amazing. Sonic's voice is okay, it's sort of hit and miss, but Tails just sounds like he has a stuffy nose the whole time. Also, at this time I feel I should mention that Sonic is kind of an asshole. After the owl crashes into him and flies out of control, Sonic refuses to help, telling Tails to go do it himself.
Old man again. Count me out.
Sonic, we've got to do something to help them!
You're the one who can fly. You do something.
Huh? You're no help!
And even when Tails runs into trouble, he still waits until the absolute last second before jumping in to save the day.
So, basically, Sonic almost lets an 8-year-old and a senior citizen die a most fiery death because he was incredibly lazy. Yep, that's good. That's our hero.
I must admit, though, the animation of this movie is actually quite good for 90s anime. It reminds me a lot of the intro to Sonic CD, which, in fairness, was basically the only thing I really liked about that game, so there you go. Of course, now that I mention it, some of the music in this movie reminds me of some music from Sonic CD. I guess they were taking a lot of their influence from that game in particular. Not sure why, but I suppose it's not a terrible thing overall. After all, I am kind of the odd one out when it comes to my dislike of the game. Most people think it's great, so I guess that works. Anyway, the owl tells them that the president has summoned them to the presidential house right away, because they couldn't think of a better name for the president's house or something, I don't know.
Presidential house right away.
That's it, please.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it, but apparently this movie takes place on Freedom Planet, which has its own president, or is he the president of South Island, and there's other presidents for the other countries, I don't know, who makes regular calls to Sonic for help. Apparently this is a normal thing.
Tails and Sonic take off in the tornado from their goddamn personal transforming runway. Holy shit, did Tails build this? Why not just build a normal airstrip? Who funds this kind of project, and how much money did it take to build? Is this their private, personal runway? Do other people use it, or is it just for them? How long did it take to construct? So many questions! Sonic and Tails reach the president's house to find that Dr. Robotnik has kidnapped the president and his daughter and is holding them hostage!
Not fair! You kidnapped the president and Sarah so you can hold them for ransom and take over South Island, didn't you?
No! It's almost like he's fucking evil or something.
I'm capable of something that underhanded? Me? Yes!
It's not like anyone should care about the president or his daughter anyway. They are, by far, the most irritating and worthless characters in this whole movie. Robotnik explains that he actually came to get Sonic's help, because that's not suspicious at all. Something about Metal Robotnik taking over and doing evil things, I don't fucking know, I'll let him explain.
The outer world, the one you live in, is known as the land of the sky.
Tell us something we don't know.
Shut up! Heed me! And the inner dimension is known as the land of darkness.
What? Yeah, I have my own planet. What, you thought this whole darkness thing was some kind of act, some charade? Yeah. You just keep walking. Keep walking. And then go hang out on my planet that I own. Totally. Yeah.
There, I lived peacefully in a utopian city called Robotropolis. Until Metal Robotnik came out of nowhere and attacked my peaceful city with a battalion of demonic robots. They conquered us and drove me out of my home. Metal Robotnik then sabotaged the robot generator, which creates the high-voltage electricity for the entire city. It is running uncontrollably, and there is no place to store this excess electricity. According to my calculations, if the robot generator isn't stopped by sunrise tomorrow, there will be a giant explosion!
So, did you catch all that? Isn't that the most obvious trap in the universe? I mean, demonic robots, Metal Robotnik. Who would be stupid enough to fall for that?
No, no! Sonic, please do it! You're the only one here that can save South Island and the entire planet Freedom!
Sonic, I don't care what happens to Robotnik or Daddy, but please just do this for the two of us.
I hate the supporting cast so fucking much.
Robotnik gives Tails a navigator to help him get to the land of darkness faster, and him and Sonic take off in the tornado to stop Metal Robotnik.
Tails, do you actually trust that ridiculous little gadget that Robotnik built for you? He's not exactly trustworthy. He could have put a bomb for us in there.
You know, that's actually a really good point. Why didn't Robotnik just put a bomb inside that wristwatch if Tails was so eager to take it? It would be a lot easier and a lot faster. Quite frankly. I mean, Sonic points this out, that it makes the most sense for him to do that.
Sonic and Tails go through the portal to the land of darkness, and Tails doesn't exactly stick the landing, so to speak.
I'm fine, but I'm worried about the tornado, though.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine, Tails! Planes are known for their ability to easily recover from horrific crash landings, no sweat. This next sequence is actually pretty cool. Sonic and Tails make their way towards Robotropolis, dodging spikes, using springs, and defeating familiar badniks along the way. Any fan of the original Genesis games will probably get a pretty good rush of nostalgia from this, and once again, the animation is really well done. At this point, the architecture, though, will probably start bothering some of you. Throughout the whole movie, it is strongly, and I do mean strongly, implied that Freedom Planet is in fact a post-apocalyptic Earth, what with the decaying buildings and crumbling streets and all.
Look, the relics are sinking right into the ocean.
Yeah, that's not really being subtle in any way. After some searching, the navigator leads them straight to...
Oh, that thing's Metal Robotnik!
Yes, thank you, Tails, oh lord of the obvious. After a short fight and brief chase, Metal Robotnik corners the two of them on a bridge.
I'm well aware that neither one of you can swim!
Tails can totally swim. And fly, for that matter.
More chasing, Tails gets stuck, and Metal Robotnik shoots some missiles at his spike balls at the tips. Seems like a bit overkill, but okay. Metal Robotnik eventually gets the upper hand, but Knuckles shows up and saves the day. What Knuckles was doing in the Land of Darkness, I have no idea. Also, I know he can glide, but since when can Knuckles straight up float in the air? Seems a tad bit odd to me. In addition, he also is wearing a hat, which, well, I guess looks cool, in fairness. The three of them team up and defeat Metal Robotnik, and Metal Robotnik was being controlled by the real Dr. Robotnik the whole time because, evil, I guess. You know, really, I have no idea why he bothered trying to kill Sonic in this manner. His entire reason for luring Sonic out here was so he could trap him and steal his life data to complete Hyper Metal Sonic. If you need someone's life data, the last thing you probably want to do is murder them, which is exactly what he attempted to do. And if you want to sit there and try to tell me, well, it's all part of the charade, you know, shooting missiles and attempting to drown them, you know, that's not really a charade. That is hardcore trying to kill them, which defeats the purpose of his entire plan. I don't fucking get it. Whatever. Sonic gets trapped, Metal Sonic wakes up, Robotnik gives an evil speech, and the Sonics fight each other. Although, before the last two...
It's a robot that looks exactly like Sonic!
Oh my fucking god, if you say the obvious one more godforsaken time on Fox, I am going to fucking kill...
This is terrible!
Motherfuck! Apparently, that life data thing seemed to be the way to go, as Metal Sonic straight up kicks the tar out of the real Sonic. Holy crap, Metal Sonic is a boss! Nobody fucks with him. He does not give a shit! So, with Sonic out of the way, Robotnik starts his destruction of the Land of the Sky because, evil, I guess. Tails reverse engineers Robotnik's navigator to try and use Sonic's life data against him somehow. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work, but okay. I guess that makes sense in some regards. I don't know. Knuckles also explains Eggman's evil plan.
I've traveled the subterranean levels of this planet, and I know them better than anyone. I've seen firsthand what his target is going to be, and it's at the northernmost tip of this continent. The Land of the Sky is held together by a huge glacier which joins the continents. Beneath the continents lie rivers of magma that spread all over the planet like blood vessels. If the tip of the glacier was punctured by an explosion, the magma would rush to the surface, melting all the ice. The very backbone of our planet Freedom would be shattered. The rotation of the planet would hurl the continents into outer space, where they would be blown to pieces.
Oh, this is impossible.
Okay. Why? Why would he ever do that? What possible reason could he have for wanting everyone else on the planet dead except him? I have no understanding why he wants to annihilate the Land of the Sky like this, on an apocalyptic scale, mind you. This makes no sense, and even if that, even if that was his plan all along, why did he need Metal Sonic to do it? This actually sounds like a very easy thing to accomplish with some simple explosives, which he clearly has, and seriously, why does he want to do it? I guess because evil.
I should also mention this whole time Robotnik is trying to convince the president's daughter, whose name is Sarah, to marry him. I don't really understand why, though, and the whole thing comes off as extremely creepy. Anyway, Sonic, who survived his initial fight with Metal Sonic, meets him at the pole and attempts to stop him from destroying the entire world. The fight is actually a lot more climactic than the first one, and it sort of reminds me of Dragon Ball Z with the way they move around and jump at light speed. It looks pretty badass. Attention! The following is the most epic thing ever spoken by Sonic the goddamned Hedgehog!
You might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you, since I know everything you're going to do! Strange, isn't it?
Right, so now's a good time as any to point out that this whole scene is filled with awkward sex jokes. I don't really understand why they were doing this, though. After all, this is supposed to be a fight to decide the fate of the world. If Sonic loses, the entire world will be destroyed. And they're throwing in random sex jokes in the middle of it all. I don't get it. And this is kind of a kid's movie, you know, sort of. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess it's Japanese and they're sort of more tolerant of that type of thing, but still, they just seem out of place and awkward. Metal starts to win, but Tails ends up overloading his programming with Sonic's personality because he can do that with the wrist thing. You know, this really makes no sense. This thing wasn't designed to do this. Robotnik gave him to navigate to where he would trap Sonic and steal his life data. That's not, like, seriously, no, like, you can't just change something's function like that. It only has one singular purpose. It shouldn't really need to link with Metal Sonic at all. It shouldn't even have that ability, let alone manipulating him with Sonic's personality and overloading his programming. That's something it should not be able to do at all. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I know this is cartoon logic, but seriously, what the fuck? Also, during the fight, Knuckles starts to dig some holes to drain the lava to keep the ice from melting, even though the lava, being anywhere near the ice, would probably melt it immediately. But, whatever. Somehow during the fight, Sonic accidentally knocks Metal into the President's rocket. Yeah, the President showed up during the fight because he's a fucking idiot. And almost kills him. You'd think he would have been a bit more careful about that, but it's okay because Metal ends up saving the President because Sonic's personality has completely taken control over his basic programming, I guess. Anyway, Metal gets knocked into the lava by falling debris, and because Sonic is the good guy, I guess, he tries to save him. Metal smacks Sonic's hand away, saying that there can be only one Sonic, and even though Metal has mostly sunken into the molten rock that's over 1,000 goddamn degrees, Sonic still tries to reach in and grab Metal, so much so that Knuckles has to hold him back.
Sonic! Lava! Hot! Bad for you!
Anyway, that's it. That's basically it in a nutshell. The world is safe, and Robotnik is not really punished in any way. In fact, everyone sort of laughs at the end, and, you know, sort of just cruises off like nothing bad happened. And I know this is a cartoon and shit, but again, it's really hard for me to imagine attempted global genocide, which is exactly what Robotnik tried to do, as funny in any way. But, okay. Sure, we'll just go with that.
Well, being realistic, the movie has a lot of flaws. The setting is ridiculous. The plot is campy at best, stupid at worst. The evil plan that Dr. Robotnik has makes zero goddamn sense. And the supporting cast was irritating as all hell. But honestly, I kind of like this movie. It's not that bad of a movie. Like from a Sonic fan's perspective, it's the animation at the very least was definitely a joy to watch. And at the end of the day, it was an entertaining film. Maybe not great, maybe not good in some regards, but as a Sonic movie, it really wasn't too bad. You at least felt like you were watching something Sonic related, and it was entertaining to watch. At the end of the day, I like it. I honestly do. So, I would say that, especially if you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, give it a try. You may like it. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.